Resident Evil Requiem is the newest entry in its beloved horror franchise and has already been acknowledged as a phenomenal game. It's been praised for its balance of extremities between action and horror, and it boasts a very strong story that serves as a great sequel to the 3 decades of games preceding it. So as someone who has literally never played one of these games, I figured it would be a great idea to start off with the 9th one, because I'm smart. So if you're new here, strap in for some absolute stupidity, because I'm about to ruin everything about this game. Our story begins with an FBI office and the single most disorganized woman I have ever laid eyes upon. After seeing the mess, the woman's manager rightfully calls a meeting with her, revealing her name to be Grace Asscock, and dishing out the punishment of sending her to investigate an abandoned hotel that no one else wants to go to. Assuming the role of Grace, we pull up to the hotel, and with social skills that are somehow worse than mine, we persuade a cop to let us inside.
Careful in there.
Entering the hotel lobby, we find it really emanates the cleanly and comforting vibe those establishments are known for. Jesus, I feel like room service here would shit on my bed instead of putting a chocolate on my pillow. Anyway, we go upstairs to search for anything report-worthy, and find a stalker of ours has left a collection of pictures scattered across the bed, but instead of running like a normal person, we decide to reminisce on the past, until the ring of a phone call wakes us up.
Hello?
And goodbye to anyone standing in John Cena's way.
Running downstairs, we meet up with the cop, who's admittedly not feeling too hot, and starts desperately trying to steal our phone to call for an ambulance to help him out. To help fix his issue, we politely tell the cop to go outside and get some fresh air to see if that helps. Then we follow some lamps upstairs because that's a completely sane thing to do, and there we find an office with a man inside named Dr. Gideon, who happens to hold the world record for the most British teeth in the world.
Who are you?
Have you ever read the big book of British Smiles? I'm on the front cover.
Waking up from our nap, we find ourselves strapped to a table suspended upside down, and we have to somehow escape. After heroically breaking out, we began to explore the surrounding area. Finding a lighter, we decide to commit some arson as payback against our kidnapper, but this woman appears a few minutes later asking for us to return the lighter. We respond by explaining that pyromania is it's a disease that some people need help to overcome, and by returning her lighter, we would be furthering the damage. So anyway, running away with the stolen lighter, the woman nearly retakes it, but a man named Leon manages to save us. Before introductions can begin, a grate slams shut between us, and Leon hands us his gun to help us on our journey. Then, a secondary door fully closes us off from him, and Dr. Gideon ambushes the now unarmed Leon to take him prisoner. Assuming the role of Grace once more, we try the door to leave, but find it requires 3 keys to unlock. Beginning the great search, we quickly realize that the gun Leon gave us will not only break our wrists with a recoil, but even if we power through that, we only have 1 bullet to use, so it's just a disaster all around. Nevertheless, we continue to a kitchen where we have to sneak past a chef zombie who's tall enough to be a professional basketballer for some reason. And after getting past him, we manage to acquire a gun that's actually useful. Unfortunately, the ammo works just like the batteries of any kid's toy, meaning that it is sold as separately as can be, so we're still completely defenseless. Continuing to the stairwell, we go to the 2nd floor and encounter a screaming woman enemy who enrages me to a degree I cannot describe. Using the gun we got from Leon, we make quick work of the enemy in such an explosive fashion that it deems it necessary that we dub this gun something other than random weapon. So henceforth, this shall be known as the super gun. Anyway, our use of the super gun unfortunately comes with a side of super recoil that nearly breaks our wrists, but ignoring all that, we continue forward to reach a slot machine puzzle, and after gambling our son's college fund away, we manage to acquire the first key. Now, as much as I'd love to spend 2 hours talking about the long process of getting the 2 other Rubik's Cubes to unlock the store, I think it'd be better to speed this along. Going to a casino room, we put our son's cancer fund on red and win a golden keycard in return. Using it to unlock the opposite side of the complex, we encounter a completely normal Discord mod who chases us with an angry curiosity because he spent so long inside without touching grass that he doesn't remember what a woman is. Thankfully, within this boss, there lies a glaring weakness in his inability to drink normal water without any flavoring. And we managed to kill him instantly just by injecting him with some. Afterwards, we go upstairs to the 2nd slot machine with a strange lock on it, but after collecting the liquid-shaped key, we managed to crack it open and gamble away like a boomer in Vegas, until it eventually spits out the second cube. Placing it in the door, we begin the search for the third slot machine, leading us down a mess of fetch quests, all completely devoid of sense, until we eventually find ourselves stealing organs to revive a zombie and reach a keycard that he's laying on, all because we just couldn't push him out of the way. With our new keycard, we reach the final slot machine and find it has sign language written on it, so only blind people can use it. Thankfully, there's a blind girl we found conveniently laying around, so we talk her into helping us get the third cube.
Listen, kid, I know you can't understand me because you're deaf, but don't worry, I've been practicing your language on Duolingo.
Okay, I need you to come help me find the Rubik's Cube so I can go unlock the door.
First of all, I'm blind, not deaf. And it's so offensive, you really need...
Great, let's go.
Taking the kid to the slot machine, we fight off zombies for 15 minutes using our abundance of ammo, before the kid finally gets the cube. As we return to take the cube, the pyromaniac woman from earlier appears to steal the kid as payback for her lighter that we stole, and unfortunately, the kid didn't hand us the cube, so we're forced to go on a rescue mission now. Changing over to Leon's perspective, we wake up to an interrogation from Dr. Gideon, and after receiving some light surgery, we break out of our bounds in an effort to kick his ass. Unfortunately, he escapes, but we quickly take chase after healing up. Encountering another Discord mod in the next area, we use our axe to quickly eviscerate him and acquire a shotgun as a reward. Climbing down a ladder in the hidden corner of this rundown attic, we reach a very fancy office in the area that Grace just left, and there we deal with the cleanup on the remaining enemies. Killing the chef as revenge for our time facing him in the shoes of Grace, we climb the stairs to the third floor, where we enter an office with nothing but highly killable enemies and a banging soundtrack. Going through a secret bookshelf doorway, we reach a computer with some info on the disease we're suffering from, and discover we've got stage 2 resident syndrome, also known as resident fear syndrome, and as we all know,
fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate is the path of the evil resident.
Yes, that was Yoda. I'm sorry.
Returning with Grace's perspective, we begin the chase after the blind girl. Jumping down to the basement floor, we find a prison full of zombies, and in one of the cells, we find her sleeping. We try to wake her up to get her to hand us the cube through the bars, but she's knocked out cold, and we are forced to go on yet another fetch quest for the key to the cell. Making our way through the halls, we reach a strangely familiar security camera room where we hopefully won't deal with any shenanigans. Stealing 2 battery-shaped keys, we have to selectively turn on the power one section at a time to navigate onwards through what is becoming increasingly apparent to be a hot dog factory. Finding a very unsanitary pool of ketchup, we confiscate a key for their lack of compliance with health regulations, and after another encounter with the pyromaniac, we use the key to operate some heavy machinery we're very not qualified to use, because at this point, what is it gonna do? OSHA couldn't get more pissed off at this place. We're not increasing the rage bar beyond this point. Making our way past a conveyor belt of ingredients, we reach the meat grinder and narrowly avoid ourselves becoming a hot dog. Acquiring a final key, we make our way down through a Goonie-style waterslide of hot dog grease before returning to the 2 other batteries we left laying around somewhere. Finally, going back to the cell block with the blind girl, we insert our 3 battery-shaped keys to open the lock-shaped door, and with the child now in our arms, we acquire a fat slowness debuff that makes our run to the elevator very enjoyable. After coming face to face with the pyromaniac again, we rub salt in their wound by flaunting their lighter and hitting them in the face with a fresh and tasty Molotov cocktail we whipped up at the bar. Because throwables are always super effective in close quarters combat. Nonetheless, we managed to escape before the Molotov turns us into the Human Torch. And using the Rubik's Cube, we managed to finally unlock the door and find a helicopter waiting outside with the pilot on a smoke break.
Pardon me, sir, but if you're leaving, could we hitch a ride in your helicopter?
Entering the house, we fail to find the helicopter keys in the immediate area, and discover the path forwards must be through a secret door of sorts. Finding a key-shaped object that is literally designed for no purpose besides trolling, we move on from it and manage to find the actual key inside a wine bottle, and using it, converts the house into an elevator because, yay, more long drawn-out sections! Journeying down to the bottom floor, aka hell, we walk through the doors into the refreshing environment, and after collecting the keys, we go through the horrific experience of trying to walk up the stairs while the building gets its period. Returning to the helicopter, we successfully take off, but quickly thereafter we remember that we're scared of heights and force an emergency landing. Back in the shoes of Leon, we hear the loud sound of a nearby helicopter crashing through the roof of a church, so we go to investigate before the building burns down. Inside, we find a half-dead disabled child and Grace trying to find a way out, so we take the child and make our way to the basement, when suddenly, a zombie breaks through the window, so we hand the child off to Grace and tell her to continue while we stay behind to hold the line. Then, teenager desperately in need of some Neutrogena walks in, and we decide to help them with their acne by popping some of those zits. Unfortunately, our method of skincare doesn't get the approval of their peers, but we manage to shut them up pretty quick by teaching them our method by example. Resuming our journey to meet up with Grace, we find her perched over the body of the child, but watch as the kid has a seizure that slowly turns them into a giant mutated zombie, best known as SCP-173. Stepping in to help Grace, we begin shooting the creature in a desperate attempt to defeat it, and as we vanquish the foe, Grace decides to go off on us about respect and ableism.
Leon, you can't just hurt people because they're different, like it is truly sickening.
Grace, I literally have a terminal illness right now. It's not ableism if you're also disabled.
Fuck you!
As Leon reaches down to pick up the weapon, the effects of his ailment kick in and his legs give out. Collapsing to his knees and coughing up some blood, it becomes apparent that he's progressed to stage 3 of his syndrome, but despite his obvious need for medical attention, Grace refuses to call an ambulance because she's too busy storming off. With Grace finally out of the picture, we assume the role of Leon once again a few days later, and learn he's still on the hunt for Dr. Gideon, who's apparently fled to what looks like modern-day Iran. Driving past a welcome sign on the way to the glorified pile of ruins, we find it to be formerly known as Raccoon City, and that past outbreak of zombies led it to its current appearance after the government Hiroshima-fied it. After driving through the streets of the city outskirts, we find a wall completely sealing us off from the heart of the former urban center, and the only door inside demands a sacrifice in exchange for entrance.
Cometh, traveller, doth thee wish to pass? I shall unlock if thee bring what I ask. For thou must bringeth what I demand to me. So go now and find me these bomb materials 3. I'm sorry, did you unlock the prestige British accent? Cause I speak normal people English. Basically, I'm trying to say I've got a fetch quest. Fuck.
Receiving a map of the area, we begin our search for the components listed in the provided bomb recipe. And just like any recipe, we must follow the instructions to the letter, because one wrong ingredient can instantly destroy a delicious result. But unfortunately, this mindset will make our journey perilous, as none of the constituents are common. Nevertheless, we begin the quest and make our way to an abandoned warehouse that we quickly discovered isn't that abandoned. Unfortunately, the building is packed with zombies from the outbreak many years prior, and they've adapted to this environment over time, granting them many capabilities that we wish they didn't have. As we fight, we discover that these infected can not only burrow underground to appear directly beneath your feet at the most inconvenient of times, but they can also throw a wide assortment of random trash with the power of a professional baseball pitcher. My favorite among these throwables being the wooden plank covered in tetanus-inducing nails that they will essentially teleport across the room into your rib cage if you aren't careful. Making our way to the roof, we find a distributor, the first ingredient the recipe calls for, as well as a pair of binoculars to help us scout out the path to the next ingredient. Taking a very risky elevator down, we make our way into a maze of dark abandoned halls, leading to what looks like a decommissioned energy plant, where we encounter an absolute chungus of a zombie waiting for us. After blowing him up with that easy 9mm, we make our way up a floor to locate a battery listed in the ingredients, but unfortunately, our recipe calls for 2, so we must venture through more of this building to find the second one. Traveling back through the halls, we reach a flooded parking garage full of aqua zombies that we've got to deal with. And after swimming an Olympic swimming pool's distance in the very sanitary water, we reach an office with the second battery. From there, we take a shortcut back by parkouring across the waterlogged semis, and once outside, we find a squad of gruesomely murdered soldiers. So we check one of their body cams to see what happened, because I'm sure that's going to be PG-13. What's up, guys, and welcome to my Ready or Not Let's Play. This is episode 1, and today we're gonna... Holy shit! That Jackal sniper, dude!
Jesus!
No! I can't look at blood! Oh god, look at this robot in the helmet! Ah, fuck! That was my gun again! I'm crippled!
Get cover! Get cover!
Gosh, I think I should...
Please help me!
Holy shit! You're old as fuck!
How the hell did he do that with a pistol?
Making our way to the rundown gas station across the street in search of the next ingredient, we decide to check if the store has any candy, but the cashier rudely interrupts us to say that the store is closed. In response, we politely apologize and leave, but as we walk outside, we encounter a zombie with a new type of throwable. Instead of a standard fire axe or sharp piece of wood, this one carries a Molotov cocktail made from a propane tank that, when thrown, will... Anyway, as we recover from the blast, we find the gas station completely engulfed in flames, yet it doesn't explode for some reason. And with zombies approaching from all around, we quickly spring into action. Making use of a discarded chainsaw to speed up the process, we defeat the surrounding enemies and come face to face with a powerful new variant of enemy, donned in a flame skull cosplay outfit and wielding another chainsaw. And so we begin to duel chainsaw on chainsaw, aura against aura, until eventually our enemy falls before our superior coolness. Collecting some gasoline for our recipe, we leave the gas station and return to the rickety elevator. Crossing the roof and unlocking a door on the other side, we get access to a zip line that takes us across the street to a ruined building that's fallen on its side. During our parkour through the destroyed halls, we miss a platform and slide down into a floor of its glass windows, where we are forced into a fight with enemies on all sides. Thanks to our years of experience playing Spleef, we easily defeat them and make our way to the next bomb ingredient. After collecting it, we reach a platform suspended by 2 cranes that have unfortunately jammed up with rust over the years, but like any normal man over 30, we always keep a can of WD-40 on us, and with it we manage to grease both sides enough of the platform to start lowering. Taking this makeshift elevator down, using the American equivalent to the closed door button to get rid of all of our unwanted visitors, we make it down in record time and escape without so much as a scratch on us. Searching for the final ingredient brings us to a new building full of stairs for us to spend 5 minutes climbing, but don't worry, as when we do eventually reach the top after all that time, we're thankfully treated to the nice reward of a rocket flood set up in a sniper's nest that we have to reach. Fuck my life, dude. Eventually we finish the long process of and after killing the enemy that bombed us like 1940s Japan, we steal the final bomb ingredient and return to the door to begin assembly.
What's up, boys? My name is Gordon Ramsey, and today we're going to be making a bomb. So once you've gathered all your ingredients, you're going to want to take the gasoline and just take a high swig of it. But do not swallow. Swallowing's for college girls. So instead, we're going to spit it out as fast as possible. And the reason why we're doing this is to test the gasoline type. All you got to do is taste it.
Unleaded tastes a little tangy. Supreme is kind of sour, and diesel tastes pretty good.
Now, if you've got Supreme or Unleaded, I recommend using it to water the nearest bush. But if you've got Diesel, first step is to drink it as a refreshment while we actually start building this thing. Anyway, step 1, you're going to take 2 batteries and just crack them on the edge of the bowl like so. Then you're going to separate the lithium from the acid, make sure not to get any bits of the shell mixed up in it, and then once we've got the lithium, you're just going to throw it in with the other 3 fancy named things and mix well. Make sure to always scrape the edges of the bowl when you're working with materials like...
After accidentally killing the magic door that made us build a bomb, we steal a conveniently placed motorcycle and begin the peaceful road trip through the heart of the city. After a short drive, we encounter Dr. Gideon and his pet dogs, Sunshine and Cupcake. Taking the slightly unconventional bike lane, we manage to fend off the dogs at our back and nearly catch up with our foe before being cut off by some of his RPG shenanigans. Determined to catch up, we chase his bike trail to the parking lot of a police station and continue our search inside. There we find a security monitor displaying the old man from the body cam footage. And at his side, we spot Grace, tentatively going along with everything he does. Completing some puzzles, we absolutely smoke the shit out of this guy before telling him to rest easy because we're just the epitome of a gentleman. And after eventually finding a key underneath this archaic piece of technology, we managed to catch up with Grace and the old guy. Confronting the two, we quickly realize that Grace is just in over her head, and that she doesn't understand who her accomplice is. And after we explain his atrocities, she takes the most Grace action possible in this situation. With Grace out of the way, we shoot at the old man, but it yields no reward as he dodges the bullets with ease and proceeds to immediately call on a servant of his to deal with us. Suddenly, a football player in a trench coat drops from the ceiling to stand before us, and after somehow parrying their first punch, they throw a haymaker at our stomach and sends us flying into the wall. Surviving the blow through the sheer power of God, we stumble to our feet and climb the stairs to escape the Hulk chasing us. Once outside, we begin to resume our search for Grace, but immediately get distracted by the giant enemy, Batman, posing atop the building in front of us. And after making fun of his attempt to aura farm, we watch as he hoists a missile and just barely dodge the explosive result of him throwing it at us. As we recover from the explosion with blurred double vision, we manage to make out the shape of our enemy walking through the flames, and climb to our feet to fight him.
Hello, motherfucker.
Dodging thrown cars and all sorts of karate moves, we managed to parry one of the incoming attacks in the most badass way possible, and after feeling the aura emanating off of us, he submits like a good boy and allows us to kill him. After that, we continue the search for Grace, but after a few minutes of walking through the city, we opt out in favor of public transport. Descending into a subway station, we navigate the tunnels below and eventually reach a Grand Canyon-sized gap with a plant monster inside and starts trying to knock us into the chasm, before we eventually just slide down a rope, using our bare hands to hold on, because what else would we use? I mean, it's not like friction generates heat.
Oh my god!
Anyway, we reach the depths of the tentacle plant monster's den, and thankfully we don't have to deal with any tentacle because we're not playing as Jill this time. Making our way through the labyrinth of weed, we kill some living magic flowers along the way, and eventually confront a boss guarding the exit. Hitting the enemy with an explosive barrel engulfs it in flames, and as it falls into the depths of the pit, a plume of smoke emerges from its carcass and hotboxes the shit out of this giant room in a final attempt to defeat us. Stumbling our way towards a fancy door into the facility where our enemy is fled to, we crack it open and escape from the magic smoke.
I'm seeing supplies with the logos of the usual suspects.
Oh, is that a reference? Making our way through the facility, we eventually reach the room where Grace is and are confronted by a German soldier from World War I, who's been tasked with stopping us. Charging us with an axe and somehow plot armoring his way around our bullets, he reaches us and throws a hefty swing our way. Blocking the incoming attack, we tackle our opponent through the window beside us and crash 20 feet down to the floor below. Rolling to our feet to face our enemy, we watch as he brings out a knife for our duel and meet his head-on charge with a series of parries from our hatchet. After fending off his near-flawless strikes, we teach him about humanity's advancements since his time by showcasing our handgun's ability to fire more than one shot at a time. While he's stunned at the power of our modern technology, we take advantage of the opportunity and send him back to Germany 1918. Returning to the hallway from before, we finally enter the room we've been trying to reach the whole time, and inside we find it to be an enormous yellow version of a Kaminoan cloning chamber with a computer on the central platform controlling it all. Crossing a fear of heights inducing catwalk over to the platform, we find the old guy forcing Grace to work the computer because he's too much of a boomer to understand technology, but we step in to save her from this unpaid labor by shooting the old guy. Dodging our attack once again, he teleports behind us to hold us at gunpoint, but we've played Black Ops 2 enough to know how to get out of this situation. As the foe recovers, we do a bit of improv with the laws of physics, allowing us and Grace to jump several hundred feet down to a moving platform that takes us off to safety. Once out of harm's way, we reach a nice sanitary checkpoint where we're at the inconvenience of absolutely everyone. We decide to take a long rest to restore our health. And upon waking up, we continue our journey. With Grace lagging behind our every move, we try to stick it out with her, but eventually it's just too much, and after an excruciatingly long 5 minutes, we decided it would be better to split up. Assuming the role of Grace, unfortunately, we begin our trek through the area at a painfully slow walking pace, and quickly encounter a new type of enemy, with the completely original quirk of hunting based on sound because they're blind. It also has a few other unique traits, one of which being their weakness to acid.
I'm sorry. This vial is smaller than a damn me-coke and contains the most limp dick acid on the face of the earth, yet if I throw it on the ground more than a foot away from the liquor, then it will not only produce a splash significant enough to reach said liquors, but the droplets of acid will be able to completely take them out. What is this logic?
Moving on, we find some incubation tanks with a creature inside each one suspended in a calm pool of foreshadowing, but we ignore them to continue our journey. Reaching an impassable hallway where we need to lead our enemies away with a distraction of some kind, we throw a bottle to create a diversion with the sound, but instead of taking advantage of their blindness, they end up taking advantage of our nature as a walking Happy Meal. Powering past them, we reach a console that unlocks Leon's path forward and return to his perspective. Climbing a ladder out of the area, we fight our way through the halls and begin having fits of intense coughing as a result of our disease's progression to evil resident syndrome. But we refuse to give in during this final stretch. Encountering a few lickers without any acid to defeat them, we instead make use of our hatchet and take them down like it's our 9 to 5. Because it is. Acquiring some keys that are unfortunately not the sour kind, we finally have the tools to take the elevator back up to the yellow room so we can rematch the old guy despite being in obviously worse shape this time around. Returning to the elevator room, we find it full of lickers that somehow completely swarmed the place during our 5 minutes away. Facing off against them, we quickly take them out and call the elevator, only for a bunch of normal zombies to flood the room. Dealing with them as we're overtaken by a fit of coughing, we fend them off long enough for the elevator to arrive and take our ride up to the yellow room. Stumbling out into the hallway like a drunk, we stagger our way towards the ominous yellow door and crawl our way up the stairs only to pass out upon reaching it. Back in the shoes of everyone's favorite character, we follow Leon to the yellow room and find the single most ridiculous locking mechanism I have ever seen barring the way forwards.
Hell yeah, it's fetch quest time. I'm gonna kill my...
Searching for the first marble-shaped key object for the keyhole, we develop a minor case of skill issue and take a massive amount of damage from seemingly every enemy between us and our objective. Reaching the room with the ball, we collect it and begin fighting our way back to the door, where we place our key in the keyhole and begin the search for the next one.
God, this quest is killing me. Like, if this was a Leon section, it would be so much fun. But instead, we've got to play as the woman who runs slower than I've seen infants crawl. Then again, if I was playing as Leon, I would just teabag the keyholes. I'm pretty sure my balls are good enough to unlock it.
Making our way through several more science halls, we reach what Americans consider to be a completely normal and functional hospital. There we find the second fucking key, and immediately after collecting it, the zombies surrounding us wake up. Oh no, how unexpected! Expertly dealing with them without taking any damage whatsoever, we return to the door of infinite rage and frustration and place the second orb to finally unlock it. Making our way into the next room, we completely forget about saving Leon, as we are quickly distracted by the giant computer setup from the Dark Knight. Making our way towards it, we turn it on and find a video file beckoning to us. Opening it up, expecting some exposition or something, we are caught very off guard by a video of Stephen Hawking taken straight from Epstein Island, and after realizing the nature of the video, we immediately close it to avoid having anything permanently burned into our memory. Remembering Leon's need for immediate medical attention, we rush away from the computer and move down the hall to the ominous yellow door where he passed out. Helping him to his feet, we go inside the room again and find the old guy still struggling with the computer. Doing as he commands this time, we type in the password and it shoots out a collection of needles full of unknown substances. Immediately, the old guy grabs one of them and shoots up because it turns out the whole time he was just looking for a nice buzz, but it doesn't work for some reason. Only then does Gideon finally make another appearance with an announcement that the needles contain a cure for evil resident syndrome. At this point, the old guy is too desperate to care anymore, so instead of trying to find some morphine in one of the many labs through the facility, he decides to instead just attack Gideon out of rage. This lack of rational thought leads to a swift defeat, and with him gone, Gideon sets his sights on us, determined to prevent Leon from receiving a cure to his condition. Incapacitating us with his attacks, he strolls over to steal the remaining cure, but we've already managed to get one without him looking, and before he can stop us, we administer it to Leon. As Gideon steals the remaining needles and lifts the last one out of the container, he triggers an Indiana Jones trap that detonates a bunch of C4 throughout this facility to bury us for greedily taking all the medicine. Falling down with the debris, Grace is knocked unconscious, and we resume in Leon's perspective. Waking up with Gideon standing before us, we finally have the opportunity to finish our mission and kill him. Loading our handgun to deal with him and his multi-purpose tentacles, we begin the battle. Shooting him repeatedly in the face accomplishes almost nothing besides pissing him off enough that he embraces the Japanese in him and starts rapidly charging forwards, so his quickened footsteps will more quickly generate electricity to charge up his special attacks. After generating sufficient energy, he jumps away and throws a blast of lightning at us, Emperor Palpatine style, but we tank it with ease because we're not a wussy like Luke. With that, Gideon becomes desperate and proceeds to send a wave of lightning across the entire area, but we manage to dodge it by taking a few steps to the side. As Gideon struggles to come up with a new attack, we pump another mag into him and send him staggering backwards off the edge of the platform. But before we can celebrate, he reincarnates as a living pile of flesh the size of a building, like some kind of twisted Power Rangers enemy. Shooting the enemy's obvious weak points, we draw our hatchet and parkour our way up to the enemy's forehead, where we cut open their final Indian gem weak spot. As our foe reels back from the pain, we jump down and draw our Requiem. Shooting our opponent's limbs off as we walk forwards as slowly as possible just to maximize the ore farming, we eventually come to a halt and take aim at their head.
They should call me Eon now that you've taken my L.
With our foe defeated, we find Grace and sit with her as the room collapses around us, and just as the power blacks out to submerge us in darkness, a giant light beams down through the cracks in the ceiling above us. Ropes tumble out into the room, and soldiers slide down to take defensive positions against us, while one slides down in the center to meet up with us.
Hey, Eon Kennedy? Who the hell are you? I'm the guy who's getting you out of here, so you wanna get going or what?
Back on the surface afterwards, we watch the cleanup effort go on all around us as people sort through the debris and firefighters go to work on a distant building. Making our way past all of them, we find Grace sitting in a helicopter shook as hell, and we decide to cheer her up by talking to her.
So, Grace, how you doing?
Great, actually.
Oh, really? Why are you so happy?
Well, I was talking to the paramedics, and they said the disabled kid, she might still be alive. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm sorry, the disabled kid I shot and every vital organ is still alive? What the fuck?
Alright, thanks so much for watching all the way through. I really appreciate it after all the work I've done making this video over the past 2 months. So, please hit the like button if you enjoyed, and please consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. I guess I'll see you guys in July. So, bye.